Hello, this is Sister Mary Margaret Fussyknickers. You're about to listen to Free State Radio. Why? I don't know. You may hear subversive ideas like liberty, responsibility, and rights. You may even hear a bad word or two from those foul-mouthed hosts they call talent. So you best shut your mouth and open your mind, because Free State Radio is now on the air.
Hammers back and the safety's on, safety's on, safety's on. Hammers back and the safety's on unless it's a Glock.
You are listening to the Free State Radio Network. Be sure to listen to all our great shows. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., it's The Vast Right-Wing Conspiracy with Jimmy, Ethan, Tom, and Paul. Bring your guns on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and join John and Andy with Lock and Load Radio. Thursday nights at 9 p.m., it's The Non-Aggression Principle with Tim and Paul. Fridays at 4 p.m. is the Free State Happy Hour. So bring your drinks and be ready to relax. Follow us on Twitter at Free State Radio. Download our podcasts from iTunes by searching for Free State Radio, and visit us on Facebook and the web at www.freestateradio.com.
Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. Welcome to the December 23rd, 2015 edition of Lock and Load Radio. No, Mike has not thrown the camera into the pool yet, but got to tell you, he's kind of looking like he might. So we're having a couple technical difficulties, so just bear with us. I will start with the usual caveat while I'm treading water till he gets done. That the views expressed on this show are mine and Mike's, and not any organization, agency, company, department, or otherwise group of people that we may or may not associate with. You are stuck with our unvarnished opinions on this show, and God help you. And yes, in point of fact, it is the Christmas show. So Andy is drinking bourbon, although it's a little strong, a little stronger than usual. So,
here we are.
Yeah. Did you get it?
Yep.
Hey.
Hello, guys.
Good job. Okay. Just waiting for it to catch up. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. So let's see. It's been a
couple weeks.
Yeah, it has. Yes. It's been a couple of weeks. I got a lovely gift. John and I got a lovely gift.
I love this. Didn't I say a little bit of ice? There's ice.
You also said no lettuce. Why would you want to get stuck on details? Really? Honestly. So, what was I talking about?
A lovely gift.
The lovely gift. Yes. So,
I noticed you have not brought any of them up for dessert or anything.
I'm even. And besides, Christmas Eve is tomorrow. So anyway, so Mike works with a youth group, and the handmade Belgian chocolate, bonbons, and
not bonbons. No. Truffles,
my fault. I'm so sorry. Nobody knows the truffles I've seen.
Truffles and peppermint bark and salted farmhouse caramels.
This huge basket he brought us. I have no idea where John and I are going to put it all, but we're going to give it our best shot.
I'm sure you have a teenager who's going to consume quite a bit of it anyway. Teenagers in the house have already consumed all of the chocolate I bought.
Though, because we might have to have words. we might just have to have words about that. So anyway, so that was that. And your wife's birthday was last week while you were making truffles.
Yes, unfortunately, I missed her birthday to make truffles.
But it's part of your kids' youth group. They were sick, but nevertheless.
All of my kids were very upset, one more than the other three, but that they could not help make stuff. The older of my twins, the older girls, is very upset. The director of our club is an amateur chef who does very well with the creations that he makes and these recipes. He is perfectly comfortable teaching the children and loves to teach the kids how to do this. So, in point of fact, the creme de menthe truffles in there are 10 different flavors. You got at least one of.
Oh my God!
But the creme de menthe truffles were all shelled. So a truffle is a ball of ganache So one type of chocolate made with a little bit creamier recipe, coated in a slightly more bitter, harder chocolate shell.
Okay.
So the way you make them is you make the ganache,
Right.
refrigerate it so it's nice firm, make a ball, use a disher to make small balls out of it.
Mhm.
And then you roll those in freshly melted chocolate and put them back in the fridge so that it becomes a shell thing. Well, the cream de menthe ones were all hand rolled by one of our teenagers.
That's awesome.
So,
Well, I'm excited to scarf them down, but if I eat them now, then I won't have as many for the holidays. So
well,
Not that there's-
you have 18 truffles. So.
it's not that wow. There's a lot of candy in my refrigerator. So
We did it as a fundraiser. So we typically do this every 5 years for our international camporee. That's our fundraiser that generates quite a bit of the money that we use to go out to Oshkosh. It costs about $5,000 at the club here, and the candy fundraising alone will account for about $5,000 of that. So last time that we did it was a couple of years ago for Oshkosh, and every year since then, the church members are saying, "Ooh, make chocolate again."
right.
So it goes to fundraising for the club, and this year it's actually going to send we have 9 of our Pathfinders are in what's called the TLT, or Teen Leadership Training Program, where they learn how to run a club, and for all intents and purposes, they're learning how to run a small company.
Right.
There's an event at the church conference level that is sponsored this year at one of the campgrounds in January, and it costs $80 a person. This just took care of paying for all but $15 a person, because we make sure that the TLTs actually do have skin in the game. So this will cover the remaining, what was that, $65 of their entrance fee. So
Cool. So what did you get your lovely bride for her birthday? I know the answer to this, but I want him to tell you all.
the reality is what she got is 2 action figures from the original Star Trek series. So my wife is an original Trek fan, and she has collected some stuff over the years.
This
And I just
tickles me
happened to
to
be
no
walking
end.
through, and she didn't want anything.
know.
But I happened to be walking through doing Christmas shopping with a friend of mine who is curiously absent from the chat room this evening. But he has been told that we have a show.
Okay.
We were out Christmas shopping, and I happened to walk past, and I went, "Oh, cool!" And they were the last 2 on the shelf. So,
Oh, damn.
and they were on clearance. So, okay,
Well,
let's
there
go
you
ahead and
go.
pick them up.
There you go. And did you give them to her?
No, because we haven't done her actual birthday celebration yet. Because we had
Oh,
all of the
okay.
kids. We were busy, and the kids. Older son spent the night at Grandpa's house on Friday so that he could go to a church event Friday night, and my girls spent the night at Grandpa's house on Saturday night because they wanted to hang out with Grandpa.
Well,
And
that's
since then,
nice.
it's been the rush of get everything done for Christmas time. So
Hey, I'm all about
at some
stretching.
point, we will probably go out at some point to do her birthday dinner.
I fully approve of stretching out your birthday as long as is possible. So, I think birthdays should be a week-long event.
And no, Raymond, I have not been to the toy exchange in Mount Airy. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. Okay. So hold on one second, and then I will turn this off. This is usually one of our. Oh, okay.
I was going to say, it's usually somebody else who.
It was Dad's neighbor. Thunder?
Can't tell if that was thunder or
No, that was thunder. So yes.
thunder, lightning. That's Cy Robertson.
Oh, you think he's the one with the bourbon? He doesn't drink much.
Bolts, I can't read that. It's not 9 o'clock.
I can't read half of what Bolts writes in there. So, just rolling. Anyways, so yeah, it's been a busy time. In fact, John was downstairs putting the we got the tree, we got the lights up, we got a couple of ornaments on. We had to put the plastic ornaments up because Molly, my youngest lab, will come home on Monday, and I am not putting my extremely expensive Radcos and German glass ornaments on the tree until I am convinced that she will not pull the tree down. Smeagol never did. Oddly enough, Smeagol does what he's told. Sort of.
The Smeagol.
Right. I serve him up. You bat him across. Skipper Key, I have no problem with that. The 12 days of your wife, I think is fabulous. I would like the 12 days of Andy. I think that's a lovely thought. And considering I have a 0 birthday coming up in February, I think it should be a month-long thing. Meaning that every time you see me, you have to buy me a cocktail. So, I forgot what else I was talking about. I'm a little distracted tonight. Mandatory, right? Yeah. Skipper Key, I got no problems with this. None. And in other news, okay, let me take this down so we're not running the video twice. So, interestingly enough, well, let's do the national stuff first, and then we'll get into the local stuff. So, if you go to CNN.com, they did a fact check thing based on the debate, and apparently this Saturday night debate was well viewed, well watched. I didn't watch it. I don't know anybody that did. Why would you watch it? You know who's going to win. What's the point? Primary. Apparently, Hillary Clinton said, quote, guns in and of themselves, in my opinion, will not make Americans safer. We lose 33,000 people a year already to gun violence. Well, okay, so CNN said true, but very misleading, or they said but misleading. So here's the problem. She's including suicides and unintentional deaths and incidents with undetermined intent, as well as violence-related firearms death, like homicide, legal intervention. The CDC reports 586 unintentional deaths, and it also reports 270 deaths. The intent was undetermined. More than 33,000 people did die in 2014 from firearm injuries. However, the number of people killed in violence-related homicides and legal interventions was about a third of that. So technically, she's not lying, but man, is she skating along. They went on to talk about, we'll skip that one. They went on to talk, here we go, here's a good one. Reality check, Clinton on ISIS using Trump videos. Speaking about Donald Trump's proposed ban on Muslims entering the United States, Clinton said Saturday that ISIS was using the video of the businessman to recruit fighters. Quote, they are going to people showing videos of Donald Trump insulting Islam and Muslims in order to recruit more radical jihadists, Clinton said of the GOP frontrunner. First of all, my first question is, how the hell would she know that? Okay, because if she knows where the recruiters are, then she has an obligation to let the military know so they can go take care of these people. But anyway, yeah, so neither ISIS main media outlets nor any ISIS affiliates have used footage capitalizing on Trump's anti-Muslim language, according to Laith Al-Khoury, the co-founder and director of Flashpoint that monitors jihadist activity online. Al-Khoury noted in comments to CNN on Saturday that Trump's comments do play directly into the recruitment playbook. And he has no doubt they could eventually be referenced in official ISIS communications. Al-Khoury said the comments have also been mentioned in top-tier ISIS web forums on the dark web. Not heavily discussed, but they were definitely part of a news feed, if you will. The Clinton campaign directed CNN to an NBC story published on December 8th. Good Lord, it's raining cats and dogs out there again. In which the executive director of the SITE intelligence group said they love him from the sense that he is supporting the right rhetoric. They follow everything Donald Trump says, Rita Katz told NBC. When he says no Muslims should be allowed in America, they tell people, we told you America hates Muslims, and here is proof. However, ultimately, there is no evidence of ISIS using videos of Donald Trump for recruitment. And for her to say that there was, somebody should have said, how do you know? I'm just saying. Apparently, she made some statement about campaign contributions. I'm going to skip down because really, let's just talk about Martin O'Malley because he amused me. Yeah. So, reality check. O'Malley on U.S. investment in intelligence. Since the 9/11.
O'Malley had intelligence?
It's a misnomer, I know. Since the 9/11 attacks in 2001, the U.S. hasn't stepped up to the threat of terrorism, O'Malley said. He spoke, quote, a lack of investment that we as a nation failed to make over these last 15 years in intelligence gathering, intelligence analysis, and intelligence sharing, end quote. The shortcoming, he said, is, quote, not only in the theater, Syria and Iraq and other places where we involved ourselves in toppling dictators without having any idea what comes next, but here in the homeland as we protect people from this threat of the lone in these changing tactics and strategies. At the first Democratic debate back in October, O'Malley made a similar claim that the U.S. had failed as a country to invest in the human intelligence, a claim he also made Saturday night. CNN ranked that claim as true back in October. Is he right that the federal government has underfunded Homeland Security? Here are the numbers. Department of Homeland Security, created in response to 2001 terror attacks, had a budget of $39.7 billion for the last year, which ended in September, as many of you know. That's an increase from the department's first budget of $31 billion in 2004. The National Intelligence Program budget has grown by more than $10 billion since 2005, according to numbers compiled by the Federation of American Scientists. It is true that the intelligence spending has slipped in recent years since peaking in 2011. The most recent budget fiscal year that ended in was $50.3 billion. Military intelligence program has followed a similar trajectory. Details of how the funds are spent available due to the secrecy of the programs, obviously. And there is an active debate over how the investments should be made. This fall, Congress passed reforms to data collection programs in the Patriot Act, and questions have been raised about how authorities missed the terrorists who killed 14 people in San Bernardino, California, earlier this month. The FBI says it has 900 open investigations into possible cases of homegrown extremists, including many to believe have links to ISIS. While the efficacy of the investments is in question, it is clear the federal government has substantially increased spending on homeland security and intelligence gathering. So CNN's verdict is false. And interestingly enough, that is the only thing. They didn't even really bother to pick apart much that O'Malley said. Oh, I'm sorry. Reality check. O'Malley on Clinton and Sanders gun positions. How could I miss this? Okay. I'll drink more bourbon. It'll be fine. Martin O'Malley called out what he claimed were Clinton and Sanders' inconsistent positions on gun control. O'Malley went after Sanders' gun control record, saying Senator Sanders voted against the Brady bill. Senator Sanders voted to give immunity to gun dealers. And Senator Sanders voted against even research dollars to look into this public health issue. Marty, your predecessor in Baltimore has even called that study into question. So really, you probably should shut up. But anyway, first on O'Malley's critique of Sanders was the Brady bill became law in 1993. I am skipping ahead. Later that year, a new version came back. In 1991, he voted against a draft that called for a 7-day waiting period for background checks. Later on, a new version came back to the House, and Sanders voted against it. In 1993, another draft came back to the House for a vote, and Sanders voted against it. Finally, when the Brady bill returned for a final vote in late 1990, it became law, but Sanders voted against it. Okay. Regarding O'Malley's claim that Sanders gave immaturity, I'm sorry, immaturity. I should put my glasses on. Community gun dealers. He was referring to a vote for 2005 bill. Basically, what CNN said is based on Sanders and Clinton's stated positions or votes related to gun control, we determined O'Malley's claims to be true. That's all they picked apart. Yeah. Sanders, I don't want to get into a socialist. I'm skipping over that Sanders stuff. Did you read any of these articles?
I've skimmed a couple of them, but no, I didn't have a chance to read a lot of them.
Okay. So according to Breitbart.com, House Democrats introduced national gun buybacks. Yeah, this will be fun. Because, well, we'll get into that in a minute. This week, U.S. Congressman Donald Payne Jr. out of New Jersey, their 10th district, introduced national gun buybacks with a program called the Safe Neighborhoods Gun Buyback Program. Payne's legislation has 22 Democrat sponsors, and requests $360 million in gun buyback funding. Payne's bill would require gun owners to turn over their firearms to state and local government, as well as certain gun dealers, would then turn weapons over to the Department of Justice for destruction. The DOJ would pay gun owners a premium of 25% more than the market value of their firearms. Gun owners who turned over their weapons would receive a debit card that could be used for anything other than more guns and ammunition. Australian-style gun confiscation was based on mandatory buybacks that resulted in the destruction of all weapons. On October 16th, Hillary Clinton told an audience at Keene College that such a plan was worth looking at for gun policy in the U.S. Great. So, yeah, it's a little frightening. So they're going to destroy all these guns. Okay, well, that's going to cost money. And it's
they're paying a 25% premium.
Right. And by the way, who determines what the market value is?
And I read one of the articles that I read about it said that the amount of money proposed in the legislation would account to less than 1% of the firearms in the United States.
Well, what we're
Tell them to give it a couple seconds. It should be back. It's back. It looks like we're broadcasting on my end.
good. Okay, hold on. Not quite there yet. Hold on one second. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, we are having some very serious storms out here. Oh, I seem to be stopped. There we go. Okay. We are having some very serious storms out here. So, pardon us. Very blurry tonight. And I don't think it's my bourbon because I haven't had that much. Oh, we just cut out. Or maybe that's because let me just refresh that and see what happens. Hold on.
It still looks like it's broadcasting on this
Yeah,
side.
it is. It is. It just was grumpy with me. So anyway, yeah. So there's that. The ACLU, until the no-fly list is fixed, it shouldn't be used to restrict people's freedoms. Every now and then, the ACLU is our friend. I apologize. I do not know how to pronounce her name. I do know that it's a she because there's a picture. Hina Shamsi, the director, ACLU National Security Project. You can find this on aclu.org if you wish to go find it. The no-fly list is in the news this week just in time for ACLU's argument in federal court on Wednesday in its 5-year-long challenge to the list's redress process. Last night, in response to, by the way, this was published December 7th. So in response to the tragic attack in San Bernardino, Obama urged Congress, to ensure that people on the no-fly list be prohibited from purchasing guns. Last week, Republicans in Congress defeated a proposal that would have done just that. I think it's very important to remember, quote, I think it's very important to remember that people have due process rights in this country. And we can't have some government official just arbitrarily put them on a list. House Speaker Paul Ryan. Amen, brother. There is no constitutional bar to reasonable regulation of guns. Okay, that's her opinion. And the no-fly list could serve as one tool for it, but only with major reform. As we will argue to a fin this Wednesday, the standards for inclusion on the no-fly list are unconstitutionally vague, and innocent people are blacklisted without fair process, otherwise known as due process, to correct government error. So, rock on. I find she finishes her blog piece by saying, we disagree with Speaker Ryan about a great many things, but he's right that the people in this country have due process rights. We want to see them respected. Rock on. So, there's hope yet. There's another article that you sent me, Department of Homeland Security official, apples and oranges to use no-fly list for guns. So a bunch of people are happy about this.
Yeah, I've been having that conversation at work quite a bit.
Less than 1%. Let me figure out who this guy is. I got to go back into the article, figure out who Burson is. Burson. Aha. Yes. I believe it would be apples and oranges to use the watch list for anything other than its designed purpose. Assistant Secretary for International Affairs Alan Burson told House lawmakers in the Oversight Committee hearing on Thursday. Less than 0.1% of the tens of thousands of people on the federal no-fly list are Americans, Burson told lawmakers. Critics of the White House proposal note that the broad list has included multiple people by mistake, such as the late Ted Kennedy. For those people mistakenly on the list, it's extremely difficult to get off, Republicans note. It's an extended process, Burson conceded on Thursday. And that article was updated on the 18th. And you can find that on thehill.com. What else have I got? I'm working my way down. Right name, wrong man. Oh, yes. Knox and a point in case. Knoxville veterinarian can't get off the no-fly list. Dr. Patrick Stephen Hackett is a veterinarian, not a terrorist. Try explaining that to airport security in the airport security line. Hackett, a lifelong resident of the Knoxville Oak Ridge area, was named Outstanding Practitioner of the Year in 1992 by the Tennessee Veterinary Medical Association. He serves as the president of the Humane Society of the Tennessee Valley. He's also on the no-fly list. Hackett has never been arrested, never traveled to the Middle East or other centers of terrorist activity. But he found out more than a decade ago he's on the federal watch list because he shares the same name as notorious Irish Republican Army terrorist Patrick Joseph Hackett, who was jailed in the 1970s for planting bombs in Britain. Difference should be easy to spot. The terrorist is missing an arm and a leg, blown off when a bomb exploded prematurely, while the Knoxville veterinarian has all his limbs intact. So Hackett found out he was on the no-fly list in 2004 when he accompanied his son, who was attending the Air Force Academy, to the McGee Tyson. He asked for a pass to allow him to accompany his son to his gate. They said they couldn't go to the gate because I was on their list. They gave me a number to call. Hackett said he filled out, signed, and mailed forms to the TSA to try to straighten the issue out. About a year and a half later, he's received a letter from TSA offering him a letter of duress that he could present. Duress.
So
Letter
the
of
terms
duress. DURESS. That he could present whenever he was questioned, and had subsequently used the letter to travel. Gate attendants would mark his boarding pass. He would then be subjected to thorough and sometimes invasive searches before being allowed to board. TSA officials, of course, were not his packets travel status. It's a secret list, said a TSA customer services representative who wouldn't give his name. Well, why is it a secret list? I mean, what is the benefit there?
I have a question. How is a secret list constitutional?
Right? Pretty soon you're going to have border crossings between the states. Just saying. About 7 years ago, Hackett and his wife vacationed in St. Martin in the Caribbean. They flew into the island without a problem. As the couple prepared to board the plane home, they were taken aside by security, supposedly because Hackett's baggage set off an alarm. Questioned for hours and eventually taken to jail, where they were separated while the questioning continued. They told me, even your own country won't let you fly, Hackett said. So, yeah, I think Paul Ryan and, the ACLU have a point. And frankly, they even the Knoxville News Sentinel references that Ted Kennedy was on the no-fly list. So, yeah. The effort to turn the no-fly list into a no-gun list is just political gimmick that is being used by the far left to impose gun law onto law-abiding citizens following the recent mass shooting in San Bernardino, California. Because, we wouldn't want to actually talk about mental health issues, enforcing the laws we have. We got to do something. Are we good?
Yeah, that's work.
Year in pathetic gun buyback attempts. This is on americasfirstfreedom.org. Yes, it is the NRA. She's due back on the show. We're going to have her back maybe right after the starts.
Yeah, I was just saying, you're going to have her back on for at least another week.
Right.
Because I guarantee you she ain't listening to the show right now.
I would hope not. If I hadn't seen that well, okay. She's visiting her husband, who she hasn't seen since Thanksgiving. We'll just leave it there. So big article on different places who've done buyback programs, and interesting to note Baltimore's in there. And while I haven't read this, I imagine it will not go well. Seeking an attractive and symbolic incentive, a nonprofit in Baltimore, Maryland, trains young people to use computers, assembled 70 Google Chromebooks to give away in exchange for guns, of course. It was a nice gesture, but evidently not very alluring to the people it targeted. While the city rolled out the buyback with great fanfare, only 17 guns were turned in. Never heard what they did with all those extra laptops. Yeah. Boston, question as to the value of Boston's ongoing buyback program. Police Commissioner William B. Evans stated, if we get even one gun off the street, this program is effective. It seems like setting the bar awfully low, the NRA notes, but the commissioner's words were serendipitous, carefully chosen at the time of his statement. The city had netted exactly one gun for the entire year. In Cleveland, most gun buybacks have the intention of getting actual guns off the street, but Cleveland bucked the trend by concentrating on an even higher goal, making small children cry. The toy gun buyback. Are you kidding me?
No, I heard about this one.
This is sad. This is Ohio. Dan? Go talk to your people. The toy gun buyback, which occurred in June for the second year running, offered supermarket gift cards to the first 100 parents who turned over their child's toy, pellet, or replica guns. They also provided comic books to the children as a consolation for having hysterical killjoys for parents. Well, first of all, okay, Dan?
So your parents are killjoys for getting you toy guns.
And then turning them in. Pop-Tart.
Rain Man, question for Andy and Mike. Why are the ones running for Babs's seat using the blurb stood up against the NRA, wearing it like such a badge of honor.
Because they're looking
Because
for the
they're
liberal
leftist
vote.
liberals?
They're looking for the liberal vote. It's a ones that are for Barbara's seat are coming from, with the exception of Kathy Szeliger, are coming from navy blue counties or regions. So yes, they're looking for the liberal vote, and they didn't stand up against the NRA. All they did was cast a vote. And you know, I'd like to go back and actually hear what their words were in the debates on the floor over the FSA. Or I don't know, did you do anything last year? Let's hear your words, because I don't remember any. Yeah, okay. Cleveland, you're absolutely right, Dan. Cleveland is full of you'll shoot your eye out. So, anyway, bolts.
Oh boy, here's a thread that we have to send to a friend of ours.
Okay.
Drone registration official, due by February 21st.
Really?
Drones above a certain size have to be registered with the FAA.
What size is that?
Something like something more than 50 grams. So basically more than the air hogs you can buy. You know, the little foam-based things you can buy in the toy stores? Anything bigger than that.
Huh. Well, that's going to be interesting.
Let's see, over 0.55 pounds and 50 pounds. Between 0.55 pounds and 50 pounds.
So over a half pound.
Mhm.
And under 50 pounds.
Mhm.
So if you buy one that's 51 pounds, you're in good shape.
They already have to be registered with the FAA.
Oh. You didn't say that. Okay. Put your drone on a diet. Police in Greens farther than simply asking residents to turn in guns. They also encourage them to sign, and remember, we talked about this, sign a pledge of nonviolence while they were there. The event's organizers made sure to specify that there was no limit to the number of firearms that they would accept. While a report of the buyback mentioned victoriously that almost 1,000 people signed the pledge, NRA ILA noted that the accompanying footage revealed only 2 didn't turn in, a BB gun and a hunting knife. Okay. So I didn't do all of the cities that you have. They do have Chicago. And interestingly, I find it article are both Chicago and Baltimore. Our girl. So yeah, they're a bunch of idiots. Anyway, you can find that article. It is called "The Year in Pathetic Gun Buyback Attempts" by the America's First Freedom Daily staff. It was published December 14th, and it's americasfirstfreedom.org.
Or enter.org and go find the menu for America's First Freedom, because it's one of their mags. I don't know.
Okay. Somebody built a gun. I don't know, with a friend of ours, and I was just trying to figure it out. Oh, look. What did they say what it is? Okay. Okay, so what else have we got? I don't want to talk about the sea. And shocking news, CNN reporters come out for gun control. I'm skipping board with it already. Yeah. Investigation finds Tawnytown man acted in self-defense. Apparently his sister, Mr. Hunter, shot and killed his sister, Mary Glacken, 68, after she came to his home and I'm sorry, this is in the Carroll County Times, published December 18th. After she came to his home and filed multiple rounds inside the house. No criminal charges will be lodged against. Investigation is being closed, according to a news release by State's Attorney Brian D. Leonardo, issued Friday. A citizen absolutely has the right to defend themselves and others from life-threatening danger by using force, which includes deadly force, D. Leonardo, said in a prepared statement. While it is tragic, anytime there's a senseless loss of life, it's clear based on the evidence that this is an example of a lawfully armed citizen not only saving his life, but the lives of 2 others. Apparently, she showed up at his home and displayed a handgun and began firing at the front porch. Hunter was standing, according to the press release. Hunter retreated into his home, eventually into a back bedroom, while his sister continued firing at him. She fired a round that pierced the bedroom door where Mr. Hunter, his mother, and his wife were located. Mr. Hunter retrieved a shotgun from the room, walked into the hallway, and encountered his sister, who was still armed with the handgun, according to the news release, and fired a single shot, fatally striking her in the chest. At the time of the incident, police reported that Hunter and his sister had a strained relationship, and the two had talked by phone earlier in the night and agreed to her visiting their sick mother at Hunter's home. They did take him, but they never charged him. The investigation included reviewing blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah, she obviously nuts. And in much more fascinating news, so a friend of mine, Len Foxwell, is the chief of staff to Peter Franchot. And Len's a really good guy. And he works hard, and he's worked for Peter Franchot as long as I've known him. We worked on the gambling stuff. And remember, and you guys may not have been paying attention, but back when we first got slots, Franchot was against the slots. That's how I met Len. It's because I was working for a senator, and she took a strong stance against the slots. And we were working with Franchot's office on trying to get this defeated. Remember, they called a special session for this?
Okay.
Yeah. So Miller, I guess, has never forgiven Franchot. So that's like the 10-year-old background on that. So I'm laughing because usually this is the kind of stuff that the Republicans do, but I'm laughing my ass off because Mike Miller is just losing his, is it 9 o'clock yet? The hell.
Nope.
Well, too bad. He's losing his shit. Len Lazarick posted, he wrote an article at Maryland Reporter, which got picked up in Southern Maryland Online. And apparently, well, Len writes, I'll just read it. 'Tis the season to be jolly, with good tidings of comfort and joy, but not between the Comptroller and the Senate President. They've had a spitting match conducted in the most old-fashioned of social media, formal letters on government stationery filled with snark, insult, and accusation. The latest tit for tat began 10 days ago. Well, probably more than that now. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, over air conditioners in Baltimore schools, but has escalated recently with letters that revived old of worked up about incompetence and political meddling. Oh, I forgot to explain why I brought personal Facebook page. Okay. Yeah, that's the one. Can we please get there? Thank you. I'm looking for it. Hold on one second. I want to give it to you the way he put it up there so that I can give him proper credit. Okay. I should have pulled this up before the show. Oh, okay. I'll have to read that article. So Len takes issue with, here we go. Okay, here we go. So he says on his personal Facebook page, and since this has been in the news, I will share it with you. Ordinarily, I would not share things that are personal. He's not an elected person. He's a chief of staff. He's like I was, only to the comptroller. But really, this is his personal Facebook page. So he doesn't have to have, an authority line or any of that. Welcome to 2015, where public officials who wish to end Montgomery County's liquor monopoly and thus provide consumers with better service, better selection, and better prices are now subject to letters to lectures in public. Against Wren. For those of you who may not know, the notorious head of the Montgomery County Government Employees Union, here is a news clip from 2010. The fiery, quote, the fiery leader of Montgomery County's Government Employees Union pointed a gun at his wife and choked her because she wanted to attend a birthday party, according to court documents. According to the records, he charged at her with a revolver, pointed it at her head, and said, "I'm going to expletive kill you." Joan Wren told police her husband threw her on the bathroom floor and started choking her, enraged that she wanted to go to a birthday party. He screamed that she was an expletive whore, white trailer park trash, and worthless, police said. I will note without further comment, says Len, that Mrs. Wren, or Rennie, subsequently refused to testify against her husband at the trial, leading to a full acquittal. So keep that in mind. That said, one has a question why a person like this is still a highly influential player in Montgomery County's civic and political life. And I think that folks throughout the county and the state will be watching carefully as the effort to end Montgomery County's liquor Wren's character wields over the outcome. Well, yeah. So they picked that up, and as I immediately Facebooked Len privately because I have been the target in daily newspapers. I mean, this was not picked up in, some little tiny backwater weekly. I forget where I saw it, but I was mad. So I quick grabbed him and said, you know what, just let it go. It's all good, and he was like, it's fine. It's good. I saw him at Docs and I said to him, all they have done is given your boss better name ID because they're just keeping his name in the paper, and they have further exposed, by printing this article, they have further exposed Gino Wren and what he allegedly did. And Len just kind of looked at me like, uh-huh. He didn't say a word. So I will not characterize it. I will characterize what I thought his look was like, but I will not comment on what he actually said to me. But yeah. So then all of a sudden we have these snarky barbs letters going back and forth between Len's boss and the Senate president. Let's see. We attacked a union leader and now Miller's pissed off. Yes, I have given up all pretense. It's Christmas.
Mike, I'm noticing that when you guys are more animated, the screen freezes more. Or is it just me? If not, tie Andy's arms down.
I don't know if I could talk if you tied my arms down. Okay. I left the door open, but you let it go. As the tax collector for the state, Miller wrote, it is indeed unfortunate that you do not have to worry about the bigger picture at either the state or local level and can simply harangue others about whatever pops into your head every other Wednesday at the Board of Public Works. And while you can print press releases, you cannot print the money from your ivory tower on Calvert Street to address all of the issues or needs in the state. Miller brings up tax revenues misdirected to wrong jurisdictions, tax checks undeposited, and refunds unprocessed. He vaguely alludes to Francho's advocacy for ending Montgomery County government's monopoly on liquor distribution there. Oh, gee. I swear to God, I didn't read this article ahead of time. Quote, your attention to local government affairs in places like Baltimore County and Montgomery County is clearly distracting from your execution of your constitutionally mandated responsibilities. And see what happens when you pick on Miller's union bosses? So responding to Francho's request for a hearing about the air conditioning, Miller says if Francho wants a hearing, they'll give him a hearing. Quote, given the severity of these issues, a hearing is indeed warranted early in the 2016 legislative session to examine the extent of problems your office is experiencing in carrying out your responsibilities. Now, remember what I have a feeling, although I do not have Mr. Comptroller put his head together with his chief of staff and the following response. Quote, I was quite taken aback by the hostile tenor of your response, he wrote. I wonder if we have the actual letter here. That would be epic. Oh, we do. Dear President Miller, thank you for your December 15th response to my request for a joint hearing in the General Assembly on the need for air-conditioned public school classrooms in Baltimore City and Baltimore County. Bearing in mind that my request was based upon your expressed desire for further consultation on this matter of growing urgency, I was quite taken aback. A lot of working office. The Office of the Comptroller has earned both statewide and national recognition over the course of time for our commitment to exceptional taxpayer service. Whether it is by issuing refunds to the vast majority of taxpayers within 3 business days, utilizing both highly skilled personnel and state-of-the-art technology to recapture blah, blah, blah. Okay, they did good. Okay, and Len, if you're paying attention, love you, skipping ahead. This in what otherwise proved to be, all of this in what otherwise proved to be a very bad year for Maryland Democrats as a whole, for legislative candidates in competitive districts throughout our state, and particularly for state and local candidates in Calvert County, where your political tutelage catapulted our party's gubernatorial nominee to 30% of the general election vote. Your unwarranted attack on the work of my office is surprising, given that my team has always responded with due alacrity. That's a big word like elephant. With due alacrity, constituent matters that are referred to by your office and your colleagues within both legislative chambers. And I will say, having done the work, the constituent work with the Comptroller's office, absolutely, they are all over it. It is also surprising how, because in the midst of our occasional disagreements through the years, you have always taken great pains to praise the work of our office, for which I have always been appreciative. Based upon some of your more recent private comments to me, the contents of which I shall not repeat for fear that they will be reposted in family media outlets, my sense is that your sudden and newfound concerns over the performance of my office are actually based upon well-documented willingness to reach across partisan lines to work with Governor Hogan on fiscal matters of great importance to taxpayers. Rather than joining your efforts to launch the 2018 gubernatorial election 3 years early, as painful, awkward, and as maladroit as they have been to date, I am pleased to work collaboratively with the governor in a shared effort to hold the line on excessive spending, unsustainable debt, and higher taxes on consumers and small businesses. While the governor and I obviously don't agree on everything, as the Board of Public Works transcripts shall reflect, I believe our mutual willingness to put party affiliations aside for the sake of Maryland's fiscal and economic health is viewed by most Marylanders as a refreshing change of pace. I'm going to cut ahead. It's a little bit of a lengthy article. Due in part to my efforts to raise awareness of this issue at the BPW and due largely to Governor Hogan's leadership on the IAC, the state board that oversees the school and construction for the state of Maryland, was recently poised to adopt a change of policy, one which would allow local school systems to apply state funds to the installation of air conditioning systems. That suddenly changed at the last minute when your hand-picked appointee to the board, former state delegate and prominent Prince George's County attorney Timothy Maloney, requested a deferral of the vote, citing the desire of the legislature for consultation on the matter. Having made your point in such an abrupt and highly irregular manner, I would strongly encourage you to follow through and demonstrate a sincere interest in the working conditions within these state-funded school buildings, to reflexively dismiss the needs of these children, teachers, and public school employees, as you did in your letter, is a moral affront to innocent. Anyway, he goes on. It's classic. He does close the letter and says, he wraps it up and he says, I look forward to hearing from you. And in case we don't speak in the days to come, I'd like to wish you and your beautiful family a Merry Christmas. Sincerely, Peter Frencho. Yeah, well, a little unhappiness going on there. JB Jennings in an article posted December 15th in the Baltimore Post-Examiner said at the Mako event, which is traditionally held in Ocean City. I was just trying to see where it was. But anyway, JB Jennings, who is the Minority Caucus leader, the honeymoon is over at the State House. JB Jennings told an audience of officials Friday, and this was before the spat between Peter Frencho and Mike Miller. This session is not going to be the love fest we once had. There's some discussion of overriding vetoes, which I'll let you expound on in a few seconds. But it's going to be a very interesting session. It is definitely. Oh my God! Oh, I can't read it. This is the problem with the Daily Record. Poll Wars, Episode 2, The Comptroller Strikes Back. Brian Sears' take on Peter VR Frencho is calling for an end to the public correspondence battle between him and Senate President Mike Miller, but not before he fired off another shot of what is becoming an epic battle in political galaxy miles and miles down away in Annapolis. So I would have loved to have read that article, but it is an expensive subscription. But I love the Poll Wars Episode 2, The Comptroller Strikes Back.
So Rain Man asked, what should we prepare ourselves for this session?
Everything.
I would be prepared for, 2 minutes. I would be prepared for every kind and flavor of crap that can hit the fan that will.
Yeah. I don't want to throw out there anything that hasn't been filed yet,
yeah,
because
we won't know anything until the 13th when everything's read across.
Yeah.
So
but we will be talking about it on the 13th.
But yeah, I'm betting, my personal bet in some of the discussions that we have been having on the organizational level is that this year is going to be another crap fest. I don't think we're going to see anything on the omnibus nature of the Firearm Safety Act, but I do think we're going to see all kinds of feel good optic level crap thrown at the table.
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, yes, we're going to see crap. We see crap every year, but we got too many people too busy running for various other seats. So yeah, I mean, you can throw a bill at the wall, but if you're not there to work it and defend it, is it going to pass? Probably not.
So we already know. So Tim, to answer your question, very little information has been shared with us by AGC or anyone else. What has been filed already? All right. So I will say this. I will be very clear. I am speaking as the legislative director / lobbyist of MSRPA. We have not seen anything official. There is nothing for us to see officially. The legislators have the capability of pre-filing bills. The legislators have the wherewithal and permission to publicize whatever they want about what they have pre-filed. We have not seen a pre-file that has been released in a statement. I have conjecture of what I can think of that people are going to show based upon various folks that have tweeted and Facebook posts, things that we've already talked about on the show several weeks ago. The Jamie Raskin tweets about taxing ammunition.
There's nothing here.
There is nothing officially. There's no way on the MegaLeg website to see what has been pre-filed. We will know on the first day of session. First day of session, in the first session, after all of the greetings and everything else are done, the first thing that happens, all of the pre-filed bills are in rapid fire sequence read across the desk.
Well, and it's my job. I mean, it literally is my job to be looking at that pre-file list every single day, if not twice a day. And I have seen nothing on the pre-file list. that has anything to do with firearms. So, but it is up online. You can go to the MGA Leg website and look for yourself. And if I've missed it, God,
Yeah,
let me know.
but correct me if I'm wrong. All they show on that website is the bill titles.
No, you can get the bill text.
Oh, okay.
So, oh, wait a minute. I'll see. You go here, right? And then you just click on the link. Now you won't get, what you won't get is the fiscal notes, because frankly, I'm still writing ours. The requests
Well,
are
they shouldn't even have yet.
they do.
The session hasn't started yet. How do they have a bill number?
They've assigned them numbers. They will be read across, introduced. Look, it says introduced and read first time January 13th, 2016. Okay. So unless, something, I can't even imagine. This is an interesting bill. I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with guns, but now I'm curious. I brought up an example for Mike to look at, and it's House Bill 2 by Delegate Tony O'Donnell, Cedar Hope Chest Prohibition on Manufacture, Import, and Sale, McKenna's Law, for the purpose of prohibiting a person from doing anything with a cedar hope chest or offering for sale a cedar chest, providing for certain penalties. I can't wait to find out.
Why are we outlawing cedar hope chests?
I don't know. I'll bet there's a good reason.
So there's
it's Tony.
113 pre-filed in the Senate and 6 pre-filed in the House.
No. No, you are incorrect.
Okay, well then the page is 66. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, but yeah. So, and that number has not moved.
Oh, there will be some of the folks interested. Just as I'm scrolling through this one, you guys may want to look at, because I have not looked at it yet, but those of you that like to track the HPRB, there is an Open Meetings Act revision in here in Senate Bill 17. So you may want to look into it, see what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
Or it's something about retention of records and retention of voice recordings.
For the purpose of increasing the number of years after the date of an open session, a public body is required to keep a copy of the written minutes of the open session and any tape recording made under provisions of law and generally relating to the retention of minutes and tape recordings. Senator Riley, he's got something in mind with that. But anyway, so yeah, but what I note is, since I looked at the Senate list earlier today.
Oh boy, vehicle laws, driving while license is suspended, prison sentence real. So driving with a suspended license will no longer be subject to jail time. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Oh, and the Baltimore City bill, seatbelt, I'm guaranteeing this one. Seatbelts, operation of motor vehicle while inmate or person in custody, unrestrained, prohibition.
I'm sorry, what bill is that?
I'm sure it's going to be titled the Freddie Gray bill. Senate Bill 44. Anne Arundel County Archery Hunting Safety Zone.
Yeah.
Senate Bill 46.
Yeah, that's not.
Senator Riley.
There's a reason. I don't know what it is. Oh, Senator Conway. Well, yes, because, the good senator.
Oh,
Joan Carter Conway.
Senate Bill 49, Maryland State Song, replacement.
Yes, I saw that. I did see that. I was cracking up. Yes, they don't.
Immunity from civil liability, forcible entry into a motor vehicle.
And because we have so much time, we need to have a state duck. The canvas back.
Vehicle laws, obstruction, hanging from rearview mirror, enforcement.
Senator Casserly.
Some of these are going to be, this is going to be an interesting year. I'm not seeing anything firearms related in here, so
told you.
Yeah.
Every day.
Be prepared for us to see a crap ton of stuff. And just keep in mind, anything that comes up that is taxation related goes to Ways and Means and not to Judiciary. So we may be needing to testify in more than one place.
Yeah, and if we have to go to Ways and Means, Sheila Hickson, we're going to have a chat about her. So you guys are going to have to, it's a little bit different under Sheila Hickson than it is under Chairman Valerio. So
I think the easiest way would be remember what it was like in front of Senator.
Oh,
Committee.
I don't find her nearly as charming as Brian Frosch. And that's all I'm saying. And I'll say it again. For the purpose of providing for enforcement only as the secondary offense, this is how we start everything, for a violation of the prohibition for under certain circumstances for a person driving a vehicle with any object or obstruction hanging from the rearview mirror. Because why? And okay. So anyway, yes.
We're going to become like California, where you can only put your GPS in the 7 square inch corner in the bottom of the windshield.
Oh, God. Oh, is that what that's about?
Lost us after Senator.
Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be, regardless, it's going to be a very, I'm sorry. And so apparently, at the very beginning of this, Mike Adams is his name. At the very beginning of every semester, he tries to inform students that things will be very different in his class. And the latest message, which he has written to his students and will send to them early next month when classes begin, is illustrates this. If you are tired of your public schools and universities producing helpless, dependent children instead of productive citizens, please read this column and consider forwarding it to every teacher you know. You may tell them they have permission to adapt it for their classes. So here's the letter. And I'll try to make it short, but it's really good. Welcome back to campus. I cannot believe it is already 2016. Before we get started this spring semester, I want to remind you all to go potty before you come to class. I know that sounds like a strange request, but there's been a recent outbreak of people getting up to go potty during my classes. In fact, it's been happening ever since I banned the use of cell phones. It is therefore reasonable to assume that when people get up to go potty in class, they're really going potty. They're in the hall on the phone. So remember to shut off your phone and go potty before class begins. This is not a public high school. Before the first class meeting, make sure to find the class syllabus on the university website. Don't email me to ask me where the syllabus is located. It's on our departmental webpage. Whatever you do, don't lose this email and then come to me after class and say you can't find the syllabus. If you do that, I will hand you a box of tissue and a form that allows you to drop the class. I like this guy. After you locate the syllabus, print it off and try not to lose it. And while you're at it, I want you to actually read it because it's really important. Let me elaborate a little hypothetical. Imagine you've just accepted your first job offer after you graduate from college. After 2 weeks on the job, you walk into your supervisor's office and ask whether you have a health plan. After 2 months, you walk back into his office and ask how much vacation time you have. There's one thing guaranteed to happen to you in such a scenario. You will get fired. Trying to take a class without knowing the class requirements is every bit as self-destructive as trying to do a job without knowing the basic job requirements. This is important to know because people who have a grammar school mindset irritate their professors. Personally, I didn't get a PhD to teach kindergarten. I did it because I wanted to debate serious ideas with serious people. It hasn't quite worked out that way. Therefore, for your own good and as well as my personal sanity, here's what I plan to do about it. Pay attention. Each and every time you ask a question in the syllabus, I am going to send you an email with the subject line, read your damn syllabus. The first time I send you such an email, there will be a minus attached to your final grade. The second time, there will be a letter grade reduction. The third time, you will fail the class. If you write to complain about failing the class, I will personally write the chancellor and ask him to expel you. I might even write the government and petition for your deportation. The policy is pretty harsh, so please take the time to read these examples of things you can do to get a read your damn syllabus email. Number 1, asking me the name of the required book and where to find it. I list the full reference to the required books on the syllabus. I sometimes provide a hyperlink to Amazon in the course syllabus. I don't know how much easier I can make this without actually buying the book for you. Last semester, a student asked me this question 1 week before Thanksgiving. In other words, he had not yet purchased the required book 3 months into the semester. That kind of student doesn't deserve to be in college. He deserves to be working at the Department of Motor Vehicles. I am willing to help facilitate his transition. I like the phrasing on it. It sounds like something you'd say. Asking me how many tests we have or what the tests cover. If you are too lazy to read the syllabus, you are probably too lazy to study. You are not likely to finish college. Therefore, this deduction should not be seen as an injustice. It is just expediting the inevitable. And lastly, telling me you have to leave class early to go to the doctor or attend to some other emergency. This class is not an open house. If you can't join us for the full 75 minutes, then just use one of your excused absences. That's why you have them. I could go on, but I'll spare you. Please understand that the reason I do this is to spare the larger society. For far too long, teachers have been unleashing unprepared adolescents into the workplace. The public schools reward bad behavior, the universities fail to correct it, and it becomes the new norm in larger society. I will have nothing to do with it. If you act like an adolescent in my class, I will do my part to make sure that you don't carry those traits into the real world. People may say I'm a dreamer, and perhaps I'm the only one. But I wish my socialist colleagues would join me. Then the world would really live as one. In other words, imagine all the people just reading their damned syllabus. That's pretty awesome. That's all I have.
Okay.
Have you
I'm trying to
anything?
think of anything else. One of the ones we didn't cover just because I found it amusing. Federal court system has given the third program victory to the in the home.
I'm sorry. The courts came down and said, shut up, mind your own business.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So courts give, this is guns.com, Chris Eager, December 21st. Courts give third program victory in Docs versus Glocks case. A 3-judge panel of federal appeals court judges last week found that Florida's law prohibiting healthcare workers from asking about their patients' firearms is legal. So the federal appeals court has said, yeah, that's fine. Florida can prohibit doctors from asking about guns.
I can also not answer the question.
Yes, well, or there's no prohibition of you lying to a medical staff member. My simple answer is no. Because if you tell them that you're not going to answer that, that's a yes anyway.
My answer is none yet.
And they write down, okay, yes.
Well, I'm obnoxious, so I look over their shoulder and read.
So then there's the other one. Did you talk about the
No.
off-duty cop?
Nope.
So this one's still an open investigation issue, but I pulled this one up because I found the title amusing. From bearingarms.com, December 24th, Bob Owens, off-duty cop talks robber into surrendering. Just kidding. He shot him.
Well, that's one way to stop him.
32-year-old Edel Moreland wanted to rob someone in the Baltimore suburb of Linthicum Heights. So those of you not familiar with that would be the area just right around the airport. Where getting a concealed carry permit is all but impossible. He figured it'd be like taking candy from a baby, even though his gun was fake. He could not have done a worse job of target selection, picking an off-duty Special Operations Unit officer just coming off of his shift. The results were predictable. An off-duty Baltimore City cop shot and killed an armed robbery suspect who police say tried to rob the officer with what turned out to be a toy gun. So not really a whole lot more than that. The last I'd heard, Anne Arundel County was still investigating. I don't know what's going to come out of it. We haven't seen a whole lot in new news articles that I've seen pop up about it, but I just thought it was amusing. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And we've said for years, and there's various pictures floating around on Facebook of police officers pointing at the camera with a real firearm and an airsoft firearm and going, you make that call in 3 seconds.
Right.
So
You make that call in 5 seconds. Seriously.
So let's see, what else did I that you may or may not have done.
Oh, you sent me like way more than I could possibly catch
Oh,
up
I
on.
know. Lindsey Graham calls it quits.
I didn't even know he was
That's a
running.
regular do. And then the local news from yesterday.
This is my dog trainer, by the way. He was out of town. Look at the rack on that deer. I can't even count how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's at least a 12-pointer, at least, and huge. Anyway, I'm sorry.
So for those people, I know just about all of our audience is Virginia or Marylanders, not Virginians, but yesterday, Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring announced that the Commonwealth will no longer recognize out-of-state permits from 25 states because their laws are more lax than Virginians. So more of the standard gun control by executive fiat. There's some discussions in the Virginia boards and other places about whether the Attorney General has that authority, since the law actually says that the Superintendent of State Police has that authority with the consultation of the Attorney General. So whether the AG himself can null and void an agreement, or whether it has to be the state's police superintendent that has to do it. Laws and words are important, but just interesting, and it's just interesting to know. So those of you that carry in Virginia on an out-of-state permit, you may want to look into that.
Careful.
I'll say the same thing. Virginia's process for a non-resident permit is not very difficult, and Virginia's non-resident permit protects you in a gun-free school zone, whereas other out-of-state permits do not, because of the Federal Gun-Free School Zones Act requirement that it be a local state permit for carrying in the school zone.
Also, in something that came across, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, so apparently the junior cub reporter from Pennsylvania, who probably isn't listening, but that's all right. I'm calling him Phil. You guys are Phil. He used to listen and participate and stuff. Apparently, Smith & Wesson has gotten themselves into a bit of a pickle. Are you familiar with this?
I just wanted to say.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Last night.
So why don't you talk about it? Because I can't read the letter.
Shoot me the link real quick.
Just, well, you're not going to be able to read it any better than I am. Just paint broad strokes on it.
So Smith & Wesson apparently has sent cease and desist letters to firearms manufacturers, custom firearms makers, to say, if it is a Smith & Wesson product, you must stop. No longer, do not modify any of our firearms, basically what it is.
And as I understand it, they came out this morning. Let's see. So what the junior cub reporter said this morning, or afternoon, I spoke to him, was that they came out with a mea culpa. Hold on. I'm just trying to see if they put it on their page. Smith & Wesson did not fully understand the dream gun and apologizes. Did not fully understand the dream gun project. Smith & Wesson has just issued a groveling apology for their overzealous intellectual property attorneys' cease and desist letters sent out to companies that worked on the 2016 Brownell's dream gun for SHOT Show 216. James Debney, president and CEO of Smith & Wesson, said, "I would like to clarify that we fully support the Brownell's Dream Guns project, and we appreciate that it showcases the many ways in which our customers, loyal fans to our M&P brand, of which I am one, can choose to customize their firearms. Our decision to contact the companies that worked on the project was intended to protect trademarks that support the M&P brand. When a product bears a Smith & Wesson and the M&P trademarks and is purchased new with our lifetime service policy, we want to make sure that the consumer knows it is past our demanding quality standards. In our efforts to protect that promise and to preserve the brand that we and our customers cherish, we did not fully understand the intent of the Dream Guns project, and we overlooked the opportunity to convey our enthusiasm for creativity and innovation that Brownells and all of the companies involved have demonstrated. We look forward to seeing the firearm on display at the upcoming SHOT Show and at the NRA in May. We should go to that, the NRA show. Matt Buckingham, and we should get Shannon, and the whole team should go. Matt Buckingham, Brownell's president, has also issued a statement that graciously offered S&W a way down off the ledge. I have spoken with James Dabney, president of Smith & Wesson, who called me regarding the M&P Brownell's Apex Dream gun, said the president. It was a simple misunderstanding about the intention of the project. He made it clear that Smith & Wesson is excited to have their product featured in this fun and unique way. For our part, we are honored to include it in our Dream Gun lineup. Smith & Wesson is a legendary brand in this industry and continue to be proud partners with them. Yeah.
So I can see them having an intellectual property issue with a firearm being sold as new under Smith & Wesson's warranty. That I can understand their pain and trepidation with that one. The way the things came across yesterday was you can't do it to anything. So, but Tim pointed out, I sort of understand they don't want people modding their weapons them as new under Smith & Wesson's label.
I will point out, and I'm still a fan of my M&P, but I will point out that Smith & Wesson did earn the ire of gun owners in 2000 for colluding with Bill Clinton to push smart guns that were and remain unreliable, immature, and dangerous. As an update, this is on bearingarms.com, by the way. They reached out to Smith & Wesson's Liz Sharp, Vice President of Investor Relations, in order to get a better idea precisely who was responsible, and here's her reply. Thank you for your inquiry. First and foremost, we take full responsibility for the letters that were sent, and we apologize. And they're doing a good job of falling on their sword, so I'm pretty happy with this. We value our customers and our peers. However, the letters were clearly a mistake, and we are taking necessary steps to ensure that this type of mistake does not ever occur again. I'd like to share that when President and CEO James Debney was made aware of the situation, he immediately got on the phone with Pete Brownell and also with Matt Buckingham, both of Brownells, to explain what had occurred and apologize to both very understanding employees that our relationship with them remains strong. He's now in the process of reaching out to each of the recipients of the letter to extend a personal apology. You know what? And I'm pretty sure Phil's not listening, but Phil and I are going to have a chat, because you're going to, go to those lengths to make sure that everybody understands that it was on you, that you made the mistake, that you screwed it up, and that you're sorry, and you are very proud to be associated with this program. What do you want?
Yeah, if they come back and said they realized that they made an error in their ways when they pop stuff out.
Right. I think I'm just going to have to go irritate Phil and put this on his Facebook page. You'll love it. Not. He doesn't like it when I point out that he's wrong. But that's okay. So anyway, that is everything that I have.
Okay. I don't have anything else. So.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us. I know it is the holiday week. I didn't want to have us go too long between having a potential show.
Right. Right. We'll let you know if we'll be back next week or what.
I don't see anything. Well, I will scratch that one. I don't know how long my family will be in town. So my wife's family will be here. So I don't know when they're planning on leaving. So I'll have to check. They arrived today, but they didn't come up to our house because it's a 10-hour drive up from Tennessee. So
I wouldn't want to see you either after 10 hours. I mean, I wouldn't want to see anybody. I would want to find a bathtub and soak. I'm just saying, I've been in the car. I've been in the car longer than that.
So thank you all for joining us. Everybody have a
Merry
Merry Christmas and a safe time. And
hope you get lots of guns and ammo, targets, hunting trips,
so
paper to shoot at.
A friend of mine texted me the other day. He texted two friends and said, "I need Christmas list from you guys."
I wonder which two.
And my response was 45 ACP. It's like, he replied back with laughing my motherfucking ass off. What? He was laughing at Marvin's response, but I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know what else to ask for, but hey, nothing else that I would want to ask for. I'm like, I've been doing research on gun belts for potentially doing 3-gun, and like, but I'm not going to ask you to spend $300 on a belt.
Yeah. That's kind of fair. So,
but anyway, the humorous Christmas note. So let's see. I
And
don't
don't
have
shoot your
anything
eye out.
Christmassy to go out on. That's the problem. But that's okay.
I told you, you should have pulled up Ralphie. Especially with the Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah, but that's copyright
Honestly.
stuff.
If it's really, you sure? The movie's been out for a long time.
All right. Let's see if this, let's see how this does.
Oh, Rain Man, it's our pleasure. Tim, nice to see you.
Black bark. Now.
Okay, what'd you come up with? Okay. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is the best one.
Okay, black bark. Now you get yours.
Oh my God, I shot my eye out. Don't shoot your eye out, kid. Don't shoot your eye out.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas, you guys.